Think about the last time you complained about being stuck in traffic.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
Right. You were likely sitting in an air-conditioned car, perfectly safe from the elements, with access to virtually unlimited music or audiobooks.
All streaming right through a supercomputer sitting in your pocket.
Exactly. I mean, as adults, we have access to daily miracles that would absolutely blow a child's mind, yet our default emotion in that scenario is usually just like profound annoyance.
Yeah, we trade wonder for practicality entirely too fast.
We really do.
The author, Roald Dahl, actually described childhood as a time when you looked at life in total wonder and awe, like frost on the grass was thrilling.
Oh, totally.
The realm of absolute possibility was just, the environment you lived in. Reindeer flying didn't just seem plausible, it was accepted fact. The world was inherently good.
So when did we lose that? Like, when did all of that boundless magic slowly morph into what the author our sources today calls disillusioned adulthood?
Well, we get bogged down, right?
Yeah, by responsibilities, the daily grind, the constant anticipation of problems. We stop looking for the magic, and we just accept that the invisible realm of possibility was just childhood fantasy.
But it doesn't have to be,
No, it doesn't. Well, today's deep dive is about the mathematical formula to get it back.
which is a bold claim.
Very bold. We are looking at a stack of sources centered around Rhonda Byrne's book, The Magic. And to really grasp the mechanics, we are also pulling foundational concepts from her global phenomena, The Secret and the Power.
Yeah, and the mission for our deep dive today requires a very specific lens. We aren't just sitting here discussing, vague notions of abstract positive thinking.
Right, no toxic positivity here.
Exactly. We're not going to tell you to just force a smile when your life is falling apart. The sources present a highly specific 28-day systematic blueprint.
A blueprint to do what exactly?
It's designed to literally rewire your subconscious mind and utilize the law of attraction through one very distinct master key.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to actually understand how to get that childhood magic back, we first have to solve a historical riddle.
A fascinating one, too.
Yeah, the author points to a passage hidden in plain sight within ancient sacred texts for over 2,000 years. And, well, when you read it in its traditional translation, it honestly sounds incredibly unfair.
It really does. I mean, it has mystified scholars and readers for centuries.
Right.
The passage basically reads, "Whoever has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have even what he has will be taken from him."
Which, on the surface, that sounds ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
It reads like this cosmic rule validating that the rich just get richer, the poor get poorer, and, you are entirely at the mercy of an arbitrary universe.
But the author reveals that this passage is actually a cryptogram.
A puzzle.
Exactly. There is a single hidden word missing from that translation. And when you insert it, the entire meaning of the passage flips. It goes from a warning of scarcity to a promise of abundance.
And that missing word is gratitude.
Gratitude. So it becomes, whoever has gratitude will be given more, and he or she will have an abundance.
Wow.
Whoever does not have gratitude, even what he or she has, will be taken from him or her.
It's like a missing line of code in a computer program.
That's a great way to put it.
Without that one specific word, the universe's operating system looks completely broken and cruel. But you insert gratitude into the code, and it instantly becomes a clear, logical formula.
And what really stands out in the source material is the assertion that this operates totally independently of personal beliefs.
Right, it's universal.
Yeah, the text quotes the Quran, echoing the exact same sentiment, but it actually argues this is fundamentally a law of science. It applies whether you are deeply religious or a strict atheist.
Which is a perfect pivot, because moving from ancient philosophy into the actual physics of the universe is where we pull heavily from The Secret and the Power.
Right, the foundational premise here is the law of attraction.
Which dictates that, attracts,
Exactly. The texts argue that your thoughts and feelings are literal energy. They are broadcasting at specific frequencies.
So if you broadcast the frequency of, say, I hate my job.
Or, I am drowning in debt.
Right. The universe mathematically must attract more experiences on that exact same frequency. The author actually connects this directly to Sir Isaac Newton's third law of motion.
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Exactly. So every action of giving thanks always causes an opposite reaction of receiving. But wait, let me push back on this a bit, because we need to address the human reality of this concept.
Yeah.
If someone listening to this just got laid off, or, they are going through a devastating breakup, Telling them to vibrate at a higher frequency by being grateful feels a lot like toxic positivity.
I completely understand why it feels that way.
Right. Like, are the sources actually saying that mumbling thanks for a cup of coffee is mathematically supposed to equal the universe fixing a shattered career?
Mhm.
Because forcing gratitude when you are in pain just feels entirely fake.
And that tension is exactly why the mechanism of this law is so frequently misunderstood.
Okay, how so?
The texts are explicitly clear about this. Empty words do absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nope. Simply saying thank you mechanically through gritted teeth, that is not the action Newton's law is responding to.
Ah, okay.
The feeling is the actual magnetic force. The words are just the bridge to access the feeling.
That makes a lot of sense.
The formula requires you to deliberately say the words, but you must feel the emotion of gratitude as deeply as possible. The resulting abundance that comes back expands equally to the sincerity of that feeling.
But I mean, how do you manufacture a genuine feeling of gratitude when you're overwhelmed by a crisis?
You start microscopically small.
Okay.
You don't try to be grateful for the job loss. You find one undeniable thing like the clean water in your glass or, the fact that your lungs are breathing without you having to tell them to.
Right, just the absolute basics.
Exactly. And you focus on that until the genuine feeling sparks. If your feeling is shallow, the return is shallow. The truer the feeling, the stronger the magnetic pull.
So it's less like flipping a switch on a transmission tower and more like carving a new riverbed.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, if your brain has flowed down the complaint and anxiety river for 20 years, that trench is deep. The water naturally rushes there. It takes a massive, concentrated effort to dig a new gratitude riverbed and redirect that water.
That analogy perfectly explains the necessity of the book's core structure, actually. The author didn't just write a philosophical essay. She created a 28-day consecutive practice.
And why exactly 28 days?
The time frame is not arbitrary. It takes 28 days of constant, uninterrupted effort to impregnate your cells and your subconscious mind with a new pattern.
Wow.
You are fundamentally rewiring your brain so that gratitude becomes your automatic default reaction to any situation.
Digging the new riverbed.
Exactly. And the rule is strict. If you miss even one day, the water flows back into the old trench. You have to count back 3 days and repeat the practices to rebuild the momentum.
So it's a serious commitment, and it's broken down into 3 distinct phases, right?
Yeah, the sequencing of those phases is highly intentional. Phase 1 covers days 1 through 12.
Okay.
This entirely focuses on being grateful for what you have right now and what you've received in the past. The text frames this as the non-negotiable prerequisite.
Because you can't ask for more if you hate what you have.
Precisely. You cannot ask the universe for future abundance if you are currently ungrateful for what it has already provided.
Makes sense. So once that foundation is solid, phase 2, which is days 13 through 22, shifts the focus forward.
Right.
You start using gratitude to magnetize your desires and your future dreams. You basically give thanks for things you do not even possess yet, acting as a magnet to pull them into your reality.
It's thanking the solution into existence before the problem is even fully resolved.
I love that phrase. And then the final phase.
The final phase, days 23 through 28, moves into saturation. You are saturating every single cell in your body with this feeling, and ultimately, you begin using this magic to elevate the circumstances of other people.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, definitely.
We understand the theory of the riverbed, and we have the 28-day timeline. But what are the actual shovels? Like, the daily tools the author provides are surprisingly tactile and deeply psychological.
Very hands-on.
Yeah. If the goal is to rewire the subconscious, we have to look at the most vulnerable times for the human brain, which is right before we fall asleep and the second we wake up.
And the blueprint tackles both of those vulnerable states immediately. On day 2, we are introduced to the magic rock.
The magic rock. Okay, explain this one.
The instruction is to find a small, smooth rock. Keep it by your bed. And every single night before you go to sleep, you hold it in your hand.
Just hold it.
Hold it, and then mentally scan back through your entire day to find the single best thing that happened. And you feel profound gratitude for that specific moment.
So it forces your brain to categorize the day as a success, regardless of what went wrong.
Exactly.
The origin story for this tool in the text is incredibly heavy, actually.
It really is.
The author recounts the story of Lee Brower, a man whose friend had a son dying of a severe illness. And in a desperate attempt to focus his energy on healing rather than, drowning in despair, the father used a gratitude rock.
Yeah.
Every time he touched it, he focused all his emotional frequency on being intensely grateful for his son's health, as if he already had it.
And according to the text, the boy made a miraculous recovery.
Which is incredible.
The rock subsequently became this global phenomenon used as a physical anchor for the frequency of health, wealth, and happiness.
And look, whether you as a listener view that story through the lens of literal cosmic magnetism or simply as a profound psychological reframing.
Right, a shift in mindset.
Yeah, a shift that forces a family out of paralyzing despair and into a proactive, hopeful mindset. The outcome is undeniable. It shifts the internal state completely.
It ensures the very last frequency you transmit before losing consciousness is pure gratitude.
Exactly.
Symmetrically, day 11 introduces a magic morning,
Oh, I love this one.
which targets the moment consciousness returns.
Mm.
It is about setting the frequency the second the system towers on.
Right.
The practice dictates that the moment you wake up, before doing anything else, you say the word thank when one foot hits the floor.
And when the other foot touches down.
Yes.
So by the time you are simply standing up, you've established the magic words, you carry that into the bathroom, actively thanking the running water, the soap, the towel.
It sounds almost comical at first.
It does. But think about the alternative. Most of us wake up, groan, dread the alarm, and immediately start worrying about our inbox.
You start the day flowing down the anxiety riverbed.
Exactly. By physically anchoring the words to your footsteps, you interrupt that default anxiety loop. Stepping into your day with an elevated frequency means you're actively attracting better circumstances for the rest of the day.
Simply because your baseline reaction to stress has been neutralized.
Right. But my absolute favorite tool comes in on day 25. Cue the magic.
Oh yes, this is the point in the 28 days where the environment starts actively participating in the process.
The premise here relies on the universe wanting you to have what you desire, but requiring you to generate the frequency of gratitude first.
It cannot just hand you the outcome.
Right. Therefore, it provides cues in your daily life to remind you to be grateful. It turns your daily commute into a customized scavenger hunt.
Yet the text explains that if you hear an ambulance siren, your default adult reaction is annoyance at the noise, or maybe like a fleeting sense of pity.
Sure.
But in this practice, that siren is a magic cue. It is a prompt reminding you to be profoundly grateful for your own perfect health.
Wow.
If you see a police car, it's a cue to be thankful for safety and security.
If we look at this through a psychological lens, this practice is actively training your reticular activating system, or the RAS.
The brain's filter.
Exactly. Your brain is bombarded with millions of bits of information every second. The RAS is the filter that decides what actually gets through to your conscious mind. Usually, it's trained to look for threats or things that validate your negative beliefs.
Like when you buy a red car, suddenly you see red cars everywhere on the highway.
Yes, they were always there, but your filter just started prioritizing them.
Exactly the same mechanism. When you play Cue the Magic, you are reprogramming your RAS to stop filtering for annoyances and start filtering for abundance.
So if you want to lose weight and you see someone at your ideal weight, your old riverbed reaction might be jealousy.
But the new riverbed recognizes it as a cue.
Right. The universe, or your newly trained psychological filter, is tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey, remember to be grateful for your own health and fitness.
Or if you want a relationship and see a couple in love, that's your cue to be grateful for the perfect partner.
You stop walking through a world of random, disconnected annoyances, and you start participating in a highly interactive environment that is constantly conspiring to help you focus your energy.
You are never a victim of your surroundings. You are in a dialogue with them.
So true. As we move into the final days of the 28-day journey, we reach what the sources call the ultimate targets.
Up until this point, the focus is largely on manifesting outcomes for yourself, improving your own health, wealth, and daily experiences.
But then the magic points in two opposite but equally vital directions.
Yes. Looking outward, we have day 24, which introduces the magic wand.
The magic wand. Okay, how does this work?
The core principle here is that energy flows where attention goes. When you fervently want to help another person who is struggling, perhaps a family member needs health or a friend is facing financial ruin, you can direct your practice gratitude toward their needs.
So you visualize them calling you with the good news.
Exactly. And you feel the gratitude for their restored health or newfound wealth as if the crisis has already passed.
You are acting as a literal magic wand, transmitting the frequency on their behalf.
And the paradox the author highlights is that the health, wealth, and happiness you intensely wish for someone else inherently returns to you.
Because you are the one generating that high frequency, your own life elevates.
It is the ultimate win-win scenario in the physics of this system.
But the true climax of the book arrives on day 27, when we turn the focus completely inward with the magic mirror.
This one is powerful.
Yeah, the author states that after spending nearly a month thanking everyone and everything else in your life, the person who actually deserves your gratitude more than anyone else is the person in the mirror.
And let's be honest, most of us use mirrors purely to criticize ourselves.
Oh, 100%. We look at our reflections to find flaws, analyze aging, pick apart our outfits. I mean, it is a daily exercise in dissatisfaction.
But the practice here is to look directly at yourself in the mirror and say thank you, with more feeling than you have used for anything else in the previous 26 days.
You are expressing profound gratitude for simply being you, exactly as you are.
And the text makes a massive claim regarding this practice. It states that when you achieve this genuine feeling, the internal voice of dissatisfaction, that nagging "I'm not good enough" narrative, completely dissolves.
Because like attracts like.
Right. When those internal feelings of disappointment disappear, every disappointing circumstance in your outside life must magically disappear too.
We spend so much of our lives exhausted, trying to beat the outside world into the shape we want. We try to force our careers to advance. We try to force relationships to work.
We'll try to fix every external problem manually.
Exactly. We're trying to rearrange the mirror's reflection without ever changing ourselves.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the entire thesis of the source material. The law of attraction dictates that the outside world is only ever reflecting your internal frequency.
So the magic mirror practice is about ending that exhausting external struggle.
Yes. When you change your internal frequency to pure gratitude for yourself, the outside world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match that new, elevated state.
Wow. So what does this all mean for you, listening right now? We've covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
We started with a 2,000-year-old riddle, discovering that gratitude is the missing code that turns a system of scarcity into a system of abundance.
We explored the magnetic physics of like attracts like, realizing that our deeply held feelings are frequencies drawing identical experiences back to us.
We walked through the 28-day blueprint designed to dig a new psychological riverbed,
We looked at using a magic rock to capture the day's best moment before sleep,
establishing a baseline with a magic morning.
and using the reticular activating system to turn the world into a scavenger hunt with Cue the Magic.
We explored wielding the magic wand to help others and facing the magic mirror to fundamentally heal our relationship with ourselves.
And the most crucial takeaway from all of this is that gratitude is entirely portable.
Yes. It requires zero financial investment, no special equipment, and no specific location.
Whether you are dealing with a severe financial crisis, a health scare, or a relationship in total turmoil, the sources insist that focusing your energy on the problem only magnetizes more of the problem.
You do not need to figure out the exact mechanics of how things will improve.
Right. You need to become a magnet for the solution by being profoundly grateful for that solution in advance.
You are thanking the solution into existence. Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with today, something to really mull over as you go about the rest of your week.
I'm ready.
The author claims that you can never misunderstand a magic cue from the universe. Whatever you think a cue is for, you are right, because the environment is actively using the law of attraction to reach you.
It implies a reality that is not indifferent or cold, but deeply friendly and highly responsive to your attention.
Exactly. So what if the universe really is actively trying to get your attention right now? What if all those little moments of absolute wonder you used to see as a kid never actually vanished? You simply trained your brain to stop looking for them.
Wow.
And what if, stumbling upon this very deep dive today, hearing these exact words at this exact moment in your life, wasn't an algorithm or an accident at all?
What if this was your cue?
Exactly. What if this
Yeah.
was your personalized, undeniable magic cue to finally start looking for the frost on the grass again? The magic is still there waiting. You just have to say the words.